At my college there's going to be a ban on smoking, and this is becoming a trend in all types of businesses. I want to preface this video by saying that I don't smoke, I don't support smoking, and I think that it smells pretty awful and is generally very bad for your health. That said, I do not support this ban, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous that it was even considered. Like I said, smoking is bad for you. It gums up the alveoli in your lungs, it restricts blood flow, it stains your teeth and your nails, it reduces your appetite, and it's more addicting than a lot of hard drugs. I'm not defending the act of smoking in any way. I am, however, defending the ability to make your own decisions and not have those decisions made for you. People smoke, that's just a fact. They're not any of us, but people smoke and they will continue to smoke. Now, I know a lot of people will bring up secondhand smoke and how terrible it is, and that the decision is made not only for the smoker, but for the people around the smoker. I would make the counter-argument that secondhand smoke is not nearly as awful as people think that it is, and it's not even a significant threat at all. In 1992, a study on smoking was done by the EPA, which later became the backbone for every anti-smoker's argumentative arsenal, whether they even know it exists or not. This study was not done with experiments, but was rather what is called a meta-analysis, or an analysis of already existing studies. This kind of analysis is commonly known to be a tool for creating skewed data, because the people making a report have the luxury of choosing which studies they'll use. The EPA did this by omitting at least one study that showed no significant risk. Not only that, but the EPA announced the results of their report before it was even finished. They couldn't meet what they had claimed, so instead they changed the confidence level of the report. Later, legitimate studies were done that disproved the EPA's claim that secondhand smoke was the equivalent of 20% of a cigarette every day. With monitors attached to non-smokers that worked and lived in smoky environments, it was reported that even highly exposed non-smokers would inhale the equivalent of 6 cigarettes a year. That was in 1998, 15 years ago. Why are we still believing the EPA study? Reading the report myself, I found two things that made me stop reading and conclude that the whole thing was just a joke. The first claim was that current smokers comprise approximately 26% of the U.S. adult population and consume more than 1/2 trillion cigarettes annually, 1.5 packs per day on average, causing nearly universal exposure to at least some environmental tobacco smoke, otherwise known as secondhand smoke. Basically, this claim is saying that every breath we take has some secondhand smoke in it, which is just ridiculous. This isn't some pollutant that gushes out of factory pipes and dissolves into the air that we're talking about. This is smoke, which settles. The second issue I had was that they found male smokers to be misclassified as non-smokers, and thus couldn't collect accurate data. Now, instead of omitting the male data, they created new data based on the female studies. In the conclusion, they claim that the numbers that they made up were low estimates, since men were more exposed to secondhand smoke than women. Makes sense, right? Even after all that statistic mumbo-jumbo and a lack of scientific integrity, you can just look at me. I grew up with most of the adults I knew smoking. Much of the time there was at least one cigarette lit. And now my growth wasn't stunted, my respiratory and circulatory system are pretty good for a guy who doesn't exercise, my immune system is amazingly efficient, and as far as I know, my brain didn't develop badly. For a person who doesn't take very good care of himself, I'm incredibly healthy. My basic message is this: when truth advertisements come on to rally you against smoking, realize that their statistics are flawed, and that they're trying to appeal to you by putting the word fact in front of every statement and labeling it truth. When you think about how our parents' generation is the first in a long time to have a lower life expectancy, consider that getting rid of cigarettes isn't going to help as much as people think. When you see someone smoking nearby, think of how awful it smells, not how much it's supposedly killing you. They may be sucking tar into their own lungs, but they're not forcing anything into yours. Becky and Dylan, I will see you tomorrow. They may be